Hello, my name is Sonja Montiel. I am the founder of College Confidence. I am an educator, a mother of a fifth grader and first-year college student, wife to my high school sweetheart, and a soccer player through and through.
And I'm Hilary Bilbrey, inspired living strategist, author, speaker, mama to 3 teenagers, wife, and adventure seeker. You know, some things are just meant to be. Although we met randomly in a class, Sonja and I really became clear that our work, our values, and our heart aligned. Soon we began talking about our families and our worries and our businesses, our lives, and we realized we were helping each other move forward into our own confidence and integrity.
We understand that many people have this fear of showing such vulnerabilities that you and I were able to get to so quickly, and it's because of that alignment. But that vulnerability and those conversations are really a way to get to the heart of the matter. And so Decided Heart was born, and this is why we would love to invite you to join our conversations.
Thank you for joining us today on Decided Heart Conversations. Sonja and I really thought a lot about the topic that we are discussing today, which is about your tribe, finding your tribe, being in the tribe. What are you currently in as your tribe? And it really came to us earlier this week. We were sitting in on a conversation and a wonderful lady brought up a point of, what do you do when you need support in your life, but you don't trust your tribe? It kind of started a discussion between us, Sonja, on what is a tribe and what is the purpose of a tribe.
Definitely. I mean, and we use tribe a lot in our society. And I think also, and particularly women, because building the tribe, or we might call it a village, or we might call it our people. I think our first notion is that we thought, oh, tribe is the circle of people that we insert ourselves into.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be groups or it might be teams, and that, although that is a tribe, that's not what we're really going to dissect today. I think if we really broke it down, it's this very intentional decision of who are my people, who are the people that I'm going to build for my tribe. So I think you mentioned before that we might even have our little circles or little tribes, but then out of those circles, we choose a couple that really support us individually. So that's what we're really going to kind of anchor the notion of tribe for today.
I think it's really an intentional thing. And I think we don't realize that so much of our lives. And I see so many women, and I've been that woman who was unhappy. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, I'm looking around and it feels like everybody around me is being negative, or is there's jealousy going on, or there's one-upping going on, and perfectionism and all of this. And this is more probably thinking back to my 30s. And I was like, what is going on? And at first I was sort of like, these people, how did I end up here? And the reality, I think one day I had this truth bomb, this wake up moment where it was like, well, wait a minute. I'm filling myself with that right now. I'm being that. I'm attracting that. And so you can't change the energy around if you're surrounding yourself with that negativity. And now that I'm in my 40s, I say, wait a minute, I am a person of integrity, and that is important to me. So guess what? I need to surround myself with the energy that supports it. I'm somebody who wants to be joyful. So guess what? I need to surround myself. I mean, that's one of the things that connected me to you. We get to choose the people, but we also have to be the person we want to attract. We have to be able to look into the mirror and say, that's what I want. This is what I need. How can we support each other and lift each other up? Is that something that resonates with you?
Yeah, I mean, think about our very first tribe that we belong to. And we don't have a choice in deciding it. It's our families, right? We're born into a tribe, and the culture, the language, our sense of belonging, we were kind of figuring it out and navigating. And I think what we do is it's not as intentional, because it's kind of defined for us because we're children and trying to navigate that. I do have to share a unique circumstance in my life, because I have a twin sister. It was only her and I, and we were in a single parent household with my dad, our father. And one thing that our dad did was the value of tribe was the most important thing. And so lucky now that I think back, because again, as a child, I didn't demand trust in tribe, but he said, trustworthiness, honesty, this is what makes us, this is the we. That was foundational. And so then, as dad's very busy working and trying to just put on the table, I looked to my sister and said, oh, you're my very first person. as a decision, you're going to be part of my tribe. And we are so ultra close. And I was sharing this with you because of that relationship that I have. I have always been intentional with who is going to come into my circle since I was young. And I'm thinking about the ingredients of this relationship I have with Claudine, and there's something very unconditional.
For those who didn't know, yeah, that's your twin, Claudine.
Claudine, yes, my twin. What's really weird is I call her sister. I never call her by her name. For me to say Claudine, it's almost like a stranger. We call each other sister.
Who is that?
Yeah, it's sister. So if anyone invites us to their house, you'll just hear sister.
Sister.
Like, oh, that's weird, but that's how intimate it is. It's like we can't even call each other by our name. But there's something very unconditional. There's an acceptance of each other. We do not care about what's the tangible things going on in our lives. When we relate to one another, it is all about character, virtues, values, how our feelings are for the day. When there are successes going on, it's always of celebration and support. It isn't us thinking like, oh, how could I get that? No, the comparison doesn't exist within that relationship. We are accountable to each other based on character and the life that we want to live and supporting that life. So basically the energy that you talked about, that is what we are accountable to bringing into this relationship. So fast forward, that's the foundational, and that was as a child. So now as I grow up, and I still grow up.
Yeah, we're always becoming.
I'm always becoming. I'm like, somehow I'm going to become an adult soon. That's kind of my boundary. So when I do engage with others and I see, ooh, there's a comparison factor there, or there's this external tangible hook that they're anchoring to, I know that that's probably not going to be the person I invite in my tribe. So although I know not everyone has a twin that has that, but I think that there is now, where you are now, what are those ingredients? What is the energy? What is the virtues that you hold on to? And then how do I translate that to the relationships I build?
I think that what you're saying is so important because for a couple of reasons. So I was telling you how we have written in our house, you are responsible for the energy you bring into this room. And it's that self-reflection, because I think we have two things going on with the tribe, right? When we're thinking, well, more than two, but with the energy, when you think about it, when you find yourself in this situation, and I mentioned this sort of earlier, but listening to you as well, let's say you get into a situation and you're feeling this jealousy and it feels yucky. I think you have to take that moment and decide, is that energy that's coming at you, or is that energy that you're pushing out? Is this self-work? Or is this actually what is being created around me? And then once you make that intentional decision, once you tune into that knowing, you have your next step of like, this is either not my tribe, or sister, got to do a little bit of work here and learn how to let those things go. And I think that that's so important. I think the older I get, the more I realize that the pause we take in our lives, the reflection we take in our lives, is vital. They talk about that being the difference between animals and humans, right? Is that animals just are reactive,
yes,
and humans have that ability to respond, to pause, to think through, to connect. And hopefully the more we learn to trust ourselves, the more we learn to do reflection, the shorter time there is in that gap between when something happens and we go there. But I think learning to say, okay, I'm feeling this way, so tune in. And then you start to know, like, if I can't show up on a regular basis, authentically to the people around me, then these aren't my people.
You know what I think is missing too? I'm not missing, but somehow we got lost along the way that you've mentioned is the pace. I think with technology, we are so quick to react now.
Right.
Jumping in quickly into relationships, online dating, it's like, it's very quick, it's very instant. Connecting with groups on Facebook, and then having online friends, which is so weird, but I know it's real because I've experienced, like, oh my gosh, I actually know someone I've never met before that I've
Right.
commented. But what I think the danger in that is that we are not giving ourselves enough pause.
Yes.
I am, again, intentional is like, I am so careful about engaging in relationships, and I don't want to just jump right in and then say, oops, gosh, this isn't going to work out. And now I just called you friend, but now I know that our values aren't aligned. Now I have to find an exit, and I don't want to hurt your feelings, so I'm going to stay here. And then we sacrifice those boundaries.
Right.
Kind of in the mucky area. So I think you hit it, is how can we slow down the pace to reflect, thinking about what we're going to put in and what we would like to get out within our tribe. And then, because like I think about every person in my life, it's been slow. I'm very careful because I want it to be honest. Again, the roots of my upbringing, I want it to be honest. I want it to be truthful to both that person and myself.
Right.
It's time. You can't instantly just pull that off.
I think that you're so right. Although I think sometimes, your heart sees something in someone else's heart or energy or whatever. And you do, trust that connection at times. But I think along the lines of what you're saying, and this, I think it's really important that we go back to what we're defining as a tribe. Your tribe isn't necessarily, you can be with a group of people because, so for example, there are dance moms that I hang out with, and we go have a drink, and I love them where they are and they love me where they are. Some of them are my tribe, some of them aren't. We can still enjoy each other, but we don't have to have this deep connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basketball with some of my kids, same thing. There's some of those people that are part of my tribe, and some of them it's okay. I think realizing, I've seen women before, it's so funny. I'm thinking of a friend of mine talks about, relates a lot of things, business and personal things and everything, to going to a singles bar. Mm-hmm. If you walk into a singles bar and you're looking for everybody and you're like this, no one wants to be around you, right? But if you walk in and you're confident that you bring something to the table, you're going to attract your people. So I think loving people where they are, not being like, oh no, you can't be my friend, but knowing like, you're my person I'm going to go see a movie with. You're my person I'm going to maybe go have a drink with and play a game of pool. And you're my person I'm going to call because I'm losing my mind and I need the support of somebody who has shared values. Those don't have to be the same person.
Thanks for mentioning that, because I think my mindset was like, either the tribe that's all in or all out, but there are these layers and they're all important.
They're all important, and there's nothing wrong with them. I think it's learning how to be mindful enough to hold space for them where they belong in your life, right? So
I just have this, you triggered a memory, something just to end, but I met my husband Richard when I was in high school, and I was so like, oh, outer circle, not sure stranger. And I basically told him as a teenager, like, hey, so this is what I stand for. I can't hang out with you during school days because my sister, she actually takes a lot of my time, and I want to invest in that time. So she's my soulmate. Are you good with that? Because if you're not, then it's not going to work. And I was just so, the singles bar, I was just so confident walking in. Yeah. And yes, there's this exchange, but then there was that finality of, oh, is this going to be, in terms of layers, really close to me? And so I had to be really honest, and, kind of, I may have not done it as nicely as a teenager. I probably would have been more graceful if I was an adult doing that. But it was wonderful because it's pivotal, because he said, transparency, he said, I get you. I get that. I love that confidence in you. And yes, I want to engage in that tribe. So
no, I love that you said that. And I think that actually really rounds out nicely what we're trying to say. I really, really do, because I think it starts, if I can sort of break down what we've been talking about a little bit today, you're like, okay, sure. No, really. I mean, as I'm thinking, it's so clear to me that we start first, and what I'm hearing you say as well, I can't believe that you did it as a teenager. It amazes me, but you start with really being intentional about who you want to show up as in your own life. Understanding that who you surround yourself with will be partially what dictates that and allows and supports that. If you are in a negative environment, you are not going to be a positive person, right? And so I think that the challenge becomes, and I think we should challenge our listeners, I think the challenge becomes, number one, decide who you want to show up as. Number two, set boundaries around that. You know, what is it that you will allow or not allow for the treatment of yourself, for how you treat others, and for the energy that is going to be surrounding your tribe? And then actively seek ways of bringing people into that at a slow pause, you know, paused motion, that they fulfill those boundaries that you have intentionally set. They fulfill those values and those virtues that you've intentionally looked at. And not only that, I feel like this is such an important conversation to have with our children, to let them know, you know, you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. Make those people count. Make those people count and matter, and be intentional about it, because otherwise you might end up down the road in this place that you don't intend to be, but it's because of who you've surrounded yourself with. You have to be intentional. Yeah, any closing thoughts before we give a challenge?
No, I so appreciate you kind of reminding us that it really does begin in our home and the people in our home. And there is courage about bringing these conversations up. I don't know if a lot of parents do intentionally. So I love that challenge. And no, that's my closing thought. Thanks.
No, thank you so much. So we are starting an Instagram account, aren't we, Miss Sonja? That will be Decided. Yes, Decided Heart Conversations. And we will post some questions and some thoughts about each one of our segments on there. And we would love to have you engage in the conversation and continue the conversation. We'd love to hear what you have to say about this, but also we encourage you and we challenge you this week to really, again, decide how you want to show up in your life, and reflect on who you are surrounding yourself with, and maybe make some decisions about, do I have the people that I currently want in my life, or do I need to look for something? And what is it that you need? Do I need to be looking for someone who is more positive, or who challenges me more in my thought process? What is it that you need? So I would challenge everyone out there to make a decision on that and report back to us. I would love to hear that.
And I know how, I just want to, encourage others, like really the learning happens when there's an exchange. So yes, you're listening to us and you're like, yes, I get it. But I think the learning will, you showing up and commenting and really exploring these topics, and we're using Instagram, show up and share, have the courage to share. What I found, at first it was uncomfortable for me, but once I began sharing, I realized that was so helpful in me really internalizing that and taking action. So please go to our Instagram account, show up, take some courage, and we are right there alongside you, helping you out. So can't wait.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't know, this might be your tribe.
Exactly. Join our tribe.
This might be your tribe. So on that note, thank you so much for another wonderful conversation, Sonja. I've appreciated it so much.
Cannot wait for our next one next week.
Absolutely. Oh, next week we're talking to Miss Claudine, aren't we?
You mean sister?
Sister. We're talking to sister. Next week we're talking to sister. So that's going to be so fun.
Really incredible life. So yeah, come join us and meet her.
Absolutely. Everyone live inspired. Have a great week.
Bye.